A very good morning to all my BBA second year students. We'll continue with the subject of business communication skills. Well, in the last class, we already discussed about the process of communication, which comes to an end part of your unit 1 of your syllabus. Now moving forward to the unit 2 of your syllabus, we'll be learning new thing today or a new subject. We already discussed this subject in the previous unit, but this we will read in a precise manner or in a detailed manner. That is channel and media of communication. Now let us understand why a channel is required for the communication process, or what a channel should do to make and communication effective. Business communication is helped with to a higher standard than everyday communication. The consequences of misunderstanding are usually higher and chances to recognize and correct them is lower. Communication channel is a medium or the method through which messages sent to its intent receiver. Now, in a business communication, it is of higher standards. It is not normally chatting with your friends or chatting with your colleagues, but it's of higher standards because it contains the higher levels of business. Higher levels of business in the sense there are a professional level or a formal level of communication, the professional level or a formal level of communication. So the consequences in the business communication are far different from the general communication consequences. If a thing is misunderstood in a general communication, we can make the person understand very easily. The consequences are not as worst as to business communication, but a little difference or a little misunderstanding in business communication can make a loss to the organization or the business. So a general communication and a business communication are too far different from each other. But in with a business communication, there are little chances to recognize our mistake and correct it. It is of lower chances that we recognize our mistake and correct it. Communication, coming back to the part of communication channel. Now communication channel is a medium through which the message is sent or to its intended receiver. Medium means it is a pathway between the sender and the receiver. There is a pathway or a bridge, or you can say a linking connection, that is the medium, or we can say media of communication or channel of communication. So that is a linking way, bridge between the both sender and the receiver. It acts as a link between the sender and the receiver. That is we call as the channel of communication. The basic channel are written, that is hand copy, printed, digital format or oral, spoken and electronic media. Within this channel, business communication can be formal, informal and official. Now, these are the basic types of or the channels of communication, that is in a written form, that is either a hard copy, printed copy, digital format. It can be oral, it can be spoken, or it can be electronic multimedia. Electronic multimedia means the use of electronic multimedia. We can say the email, the social media, the internet. But in a business communication, these are the forms of general communication. But in a business communication, we can say that it can be, the channels can be divided into three types. That is, first one is formal, that is very less to speak but more to do. And informal, which is between the colleagues, which is not that formal, or between the friends or colleagues, or you can say the same group members. And unofficial, this is a language which is not preferable in the organizational level, but outside our organizational level it is preferable. So formal is purely formal, means we can say from the, it is some orders, some manuals, some notices which is purely formal in the part which does not have any larger contains, it is of short nature. And we can say the formal communication comes with the official purpose only. The informal communication, it is of unofficial purpose. Or we can say, if you are trying to be familiar with the office environment, if you are trying to be familiar with the colleagues, or we can say the team members of our environment, the informal communication or the personal, we can say the personal type of communication is used. Now unofficial communication, it is neither of a formal communication or a informal communication. It does not belong to these both categories. Unofficial communication is, it is neither a specific type of formal or nor a specific type of informal. It is outside an organizational level. It is not, does not belong to an organizational level. So these are the, depending on the business communication, these are the three types of channels. But we will study the various types of channel which is generally available in the in the process of communication. Business channel is richer, referred to the amount and intimacy of information that can be transmitted. Now, there are channels, we can level those channels. Level those channels means there can be richer channels or there can be leaner channels. Richer channels which are more effective and more convenient to be used. And leaner channel which are less effective and less convenient and does not give any effective part, does not do the effective part of the communication. So face-to-face communication is the higher and the richest because it allows information transmitted with the immediate feedback. Now, if you are doing a face-to-face communication, if you are doing officially, because officially or personally we are talking to a person face-to-face, then we have a richer channel. We can understand, we can capture, we can see the person face-to-face, what he is trying to communicate, what is his body language, what are the words used by him, what are the expression, facial expression used by him. These are all are the forms of face-to-face communication. It is the very rich and very high and the richest form of communication. As I said that there are two levels to measure the forms or the channels of communication. First is the richer level, that is it has more effective and more easy to use, and the leaner level, that is less effective and less easy to use, which does not give the part of the, which does not do the part of the communication effectively. So face-to-face communication is the richest and the highest, richest and very high, because it allows information to be transmitted with immediate feedback. Suppose I'm asking my employees, I am a superior example, I'm asking my employee with face-to-face communication to certain work. The respond I get from my employees, or the respond I get from my juniors or subordinates, that I will be able to complete this work within this time. That is the immediate feedback I get for my information or for my message which I pass through from sender to receiver. So it is more effective, it is time saving, and secondly we can easily understand the expression of the sender, we can easily understand the feedback received from the receiver. So this is the richest and the highest part of communication. Now in this diagram, students will see there is more effective and less effective, the richer medium and the leaner medium. So first it comes to face-to-face communication. I already explained to you why face-to-face communication is that much effective. Second is the video conferences. Video conferences, now your online classes are going on. We are using the application of Zoom. So it is also effective in one part, that the person are not visually face-to-face, but it is through a media, that is video conference. Third is the telephone. Telephone, we cannot see the person, but we can hear the person, we can understand the voice of the person. Then it is your written documents. Written documents either can be a letter or a email. Last one is your unaddressed document. The documents which are not addressed to any particular person or particular group of person, that are bulk mails. Bulk mails, advertisings, or like promotions of product and services sent to all. Suppose Nike is offering some sales, so it is sent to all the customers or all the non-customers of Nike, which whether they are interested or not interested is not a part, but it is communicated to a mass person, bulk mails. Then it comes to postures. Second part, unaddressed document, we can say the example of postures. Now postures, we are in the Berhampur city, we can see the variety of postures in and around Berhampur. So how much of that postures affect us? Rarely it affects us. So it is a unaddressed document. It does not imply to any particular person or particular group. Now, these are the richer mediums where we can say the face-to-face communication, video conference, telephone, written document, and others. So, the more effective and the less effective, the richer medium and the linear medium. Now, coming down to the various types of channels of communication. What are the various type of channels of communication? First is your broadcast media. Television, radio, loudspeaker all fall within the broadcast media of communication channel. This type of media is used in addressing a mass audience. Okay. Now, broadcast media. What does we mean by broadcast media? It is the means of television, newspapers, radios, magazines, journals, etc. These are the basis of mass communication. Mass communication means it is served to the number of people, not one, two, three, four, or a group of people, first group, second group, third group, but the entire world, we can say. If the television is watched by the entire world, then the communication which is sent through television is a mass media. Obviously the entire world is watching that television, watching that particular type of message which is sent. So this radio, and we can say the all the magazines, newspapers, these are the broadcast media channel. Broadcast means if a company, suppose I'm an organization, I need to say the customers that I have a new product. Obviously I will do with the help of advertising. I will broadcast that media or broadcast my advertising in the television, radio, newspaper, magazine, etc. These all will come in the part or prosper my product to a higher level. So this I may announce my product in a mass media or multimedia channel, that is we can say the broadcast media communication. Business seeking to notify customers of a new product through advertisement or do promotion through broadcast channel. Now, promotions means there are upcoming promotions coming like sales, end of season sales, new stock sales. We can say the Mintra, the Nika, the Flipkart, all are giving sales. They are using the channels of broadcast communication. Broadcast means we can see the advertising on Mintra, we can see the advertising of Flipkart over the media. We can hear in radios, we can see in newspapers, we can see also in magazines. So these are the various types where a communication can be communicated to the mass audience. Mass communication or the mass audience or the whole country, we can say. So this is a part of broadcast media. Now, second is your mobile communication channel. Now, we are very acquainted with the mobile communication channel. We are very acquainted these days. Mobile phones are very often used than any other media channel, any other communication channel. A mobile communication channel should be used when a private or more complex message needs to relate to an individual or small group of persons. Now, a mobile media channel can only serve to the contacts of a particular person. The mobile media channel can only serve to the contacts of a person. That can maybe a limited small group of a small group of people, or we can say privately. If I personally want to send some message to so and so person or so and so friend of mine, I will send it to his mobile number or to her mobile number. That is a more complex means we are making more complex, or we can say a private thing to do. It is not of mass media. We cannot declare it to the whole world, but we can do it privately. A mobile media channel allows an interactive exchange and gives the benefit to the receiver or recipient. The added interruption specter tone along with the message. Now, if we are moving a mobile, if you are using a mobile phone for communication, we can do calls, we can do video conferences, we can do chats. So if we are doing a voice, we can say a call, then receiver is also receive the message and along with the tone to measure the intensity of the speaker. Video conferences, the expression, facial expression of the speaker, or we can say the message, the feelings or the emotions of the speaker. So mobile communication channel is one of the important channels where the generation, today's generation, rely very much on. Next, coming to electronic communication channel. What is electronic communication channel? This channel comprises of email, internet, and social media platform, which with this channel can be one-to-one group or mass communication. It is less personal way of but more effective. Now, what is this electronic? If there is a email, internet, or social media. Now today's world, social media is playing a vast, or we can say a large influence of the youth of the people. Every discussion, every manner, or everything can be influenced by social media. So it is a major or basic form of channel of communication. So if it is done through email, or we can say the internet have very other services rather than social media, like internet services, like various websites, various channels of internet, you can say the YouTube and other informative channels. And social media, no doubt we can say the Facebook, Instagram, etc. It influence the peoples and channels to communicate its message through a one-to-one person. It can be a one-to-one person, that mail we can send to one-to-one person, or we can say group of person, or the mass communication means if I post something on my Facebook, I can the whole world can see it. If I can post something on Facebook, the whole entire world can see it. That is the meaning of mass communication. So these are the electronic media channel, which is very advanced, which is very quick, which is very reliable to use in this modern era of communication. Next one is it written method of communication. Written method of communication should be a message does not require interaction. Message communicated to employees or groups. Okay. Written method of communication. Written is generally or basically the formal way of communicating. Formal way of communicating. Written method should be used when our message does not require interactions, means it has just to be passed from one person, the sender, to the receiver. It does not need any interaction. So for that form of communication, which we can say the one way form of communication, we can use the written form of communication, or the one first part of the communication, where the communication is only to be told, said, or spoken to. It does not have to receive any feedback. Then we can use the written form of communication. Example, we can say the message communicated to the employees or group, the policies, the notices, the announcement, that are message the workers, well, for this channel. Now, if there is an announcement to make in your college, suppose in our college, if there is an announcement or notice to make, it is a one way communication channel, so it is of written form. We are sent a notice to every class, then it is declared by respective teachers to you. So that is one part of written communication, that documented. It can be documented and it can be relayed on, or it can be dependent on for the future references. It is for the short notices, the announcements, the letters to the employees or the staffs of any locality, or we can say any community, or we can say any college or institutions. So this is a part of written method of communication. We can devise it. The first one is broadcast media, television, radios, magazines, etc. Second, we can say as second form we can say as written method of communication. The written method is the short form of communication, a short method where it is one-way communication and there is no interaction between the sender and the receiver. Then we can say the social media form of communication, that is an electronic form of communication where there are electronic form means emails. We can say the social media, the internet are the forms of communication. Then we can say mobile communication channel. Mobile communication channel is the interaction from a personal contact. Personally, we have to send some message, or we can say some notices or any information from one person to another person or group of small persons is a mobile communication. So these are the various forms of channels of communication. In the next class or the next video, we'll study about the business communication channels. The business communication channels. These are the basic communication channels which are used worldwide to provide more effective form of communication. That's all for today. We'll study the next topic in the next class.